Beautiful.
ויהי אחרי כן. And it was after this. We are in a new era. This is not just after something that happened, something major happened. Shaul, the king of Israel, his children were killed. There is no king. And the first part that we are going to see is a special time in the life of any person who come from hiding to the center of the stage. Until now, David is the warrior. He's a survivor. He's even a general of a group of people who came with him for all kinds of reasons. He was chased by Shaul, and he was away from the center of the events. He did not even participate in the war against the Plishtim. And as we saw, this is a major issue because really what happened after Shaul died was much more than just the king died. Every achievement that Shaul achieved disappeared, dissipated. Even the city that they managed to redeem from the Plishtim, they left because they were so fearing the Plishtim, and the Plishtim got into their cities. Even this achievement of Shaul disappeared after the war against Shaul in the Gilboa. David knows that the chase is over, basically. But you know, the change from being a general to become a politician is a major one. Great generals failed as politicians.
It's like principals and teachers.
It happened many times. I didn't want to say Ariel Sharon. You know, many people who believe that he was a great commander, as a politician, well, there is a question. If he was as good as the person who saved Israel in the Milchemet Yom Kippur. What was the name of the general, the American general, Ulysses?
That's Grant.
No, not MacArthur.
Grant.
Ulysses Grant. He was a general and then he became a president. And as a president, people prefer to remember him as a general, not as the president of the United States. He was not very successful.
There was also Eisenhower.
Eisenhower.
Dwight Eisenhower. He was a World War II general.
Okay, over there you can say this way or this way. But everyone understands, you're right, like going from being very good in one area does not mean that automatically you are going to be very good in something that requires a whole different set of characters and traits. What we are going to see in this period is how David deal with this change, which is a major in his life and the life of Israel. And the first thing David is doing, וישאל דוד בהשם לאמור. See the difference between Shaul and David. Shaul is going to consult Hashem in all kind of strange way. First of all, he did not know Shmuel in the beginning. Then Shmuel tell him what to do. He's not doing what Shmuel is telling him to do. Then at the end of his life, unfortunately, he's going to Baalat Ahov. David, the first thing that he does, he's going to ask Hashem what to do. Which tells us something very, very important. The question was, "Ha'eleh be'achat arei Yehuda." Should I go back to Yehuda? If he asks, it means that if Hashem would say no, he would listen. You don't ask questions Hashem if you are not going to do them. And we see something very, very important. David did not rush to take over the kingship before Hashem is telling him to do so. Now, a major question that we are going to deal with this year is David knew actually that Hashem appointed him as the next king. He was appointed and anointed by Shmuel.
Right.
Exactly. However, we are going to see something very, very important in understanding the whole concept of a king in Am Yisrael. We are going to see it a little bit later, but I would say the following. There is one issue of being appointed to be the king by Hashem, but this is not the whole prerequisite to be a king. In Am Yisrael, a king is not a dictator. He is not taking over the kingdom. He all the time needs the acceptance of the people. The Torah starts the mitzvah of being a king, כי תבוא אל הארץ אשר השם אלוקיך נותן לך, ואמרת, שום אשים עלי מלך ככל הגויים. I want to have a king like all the nations around. And then the Torah says, שום תשים עליך מלך, there is a commandment, you have to make a king, מקרב אחיך, he has to be someone from within, and not someone that you take because he has a very good skills from another nation. Things like this also happen. And the Torah gives some laws to the king. But how the Torah started? With the request of Bnei Israel. And remember that even Shaul became a king only after the people came to Shmuel and said, we want a king. Before that, there is no king. There is a mitzvah to have a king, but until the people request it, there is no king. So it's a very interesting situation between kind of democracy, the acceptance of the people, and kind of dictatorship. Because after they accept him as the king has unlimited authority. But if the people are going to rebel against the king, as it happened, by the way, later to David, there is no concept of kingdom. In Am Yisrael, a king is a king as long as he was appointed by Hashem and by the people. And we are going to see it a few times in this perek here. So question number one.
Does that mean if the people say I don't want him anymore, there is no more, he loses his right to be a king?
Exactly.
We see that?
We are going to see that in what happened in Mered of Shalom. And we are going to see it maybe in other cases, and we are going to see it as the major issue that split the kingdom to Malchut Yehuda and Malchut Israel. And the Nevi'im accepted it. Why they accepted the fact that there is Malchut Yehuda and Malchut Israel when Hashem promised the Malchut to Beit Yehuda? The answer is, if they don't want them, they are not the kings of even the Shvatim of Israel. But we are going to see it later.
But was there ever a time that there was no king between David HaMelech and the...
Between David HaMelech
and the last king?
Yes, and we are going to learn about it now. Okay. So first of all, David is asking Hashem, which is a major shift already from Shaul, who is not asking, and if he asked or instructed by the Navi, he not always listen. האלה באחת ערי יהודה, ויאמר השם אליו עלה, ויאמר דוד אנה אעלה, ויאמר חברונה. So Hashem answering, go to Hebron. We are going to speak about it in a second. ויעל שם דוד, so David is going to Hebron, וגם שתי נשיו, אחינועם היזרעאלית ואביגיל אשת נבל הכרמלית, they also join him. ואנשיו אשר עמו העלה דוד, so all the people that were part of his camp, he brings them also to Hebron, וישבו בערי Hebron. Hebron apparently was like the GTA of the time, the major city, and around it there was like Scarborough and here and there. So they were sitting around Hebron, because apparently Hebron could not accommodate all the new people. It was 600 people with their families. This, at this time, considered to be quite a lot. Hebron was the downtown. Remember, these people were not rich, so they bought in, I don't know where, in I don't know where. So they were around. They did not have money to buy a house in the downtown of Hebron. First of all, what is the word that is repeated from Pasuk Aleph to Pasuk Gimel?
Allah.
נכון. The root of Allah. In Pasuk Aleph we find it 3 times. האעלה באחת מערי יהודה, ויאמר שם אליו עלה. ויאמר דוד אנה אעלה, ויאמר חברון. ויעל שם דוד, ואנשיו אשר עמו העלה דוד. Now, you can say, geographically, Hebron is at the top. It's like 800 meters above the sea level, and indeed Hebron is quite on a high spot in Harei Hebron. Well, okay. But when the Tanakh repeated so many times, it's more than that. And what the word Vayal means, it was not just like going up geographically, but David started to go up. Shaul ended the in a very low point, and from here on we are going to read about Aliyah. We start to go up. And Hashem tells him, go to Hebron. Why to Hebron? Where would you suggest him to go? Okay, he wants to go to one of the Arim of Yehuda. We can understand, he came from the tribe of Yehuda. And Hashem tells him, go to the people of Yehuda. But why Hebron? What would you suggest him to do? What we would do? Yerushalayim was occupied at the time.
Shiloh, right.
It was really occupied, not like what they say.
Shiloh wasn't in
Shiloh
Yehuda.
was not in Yehuda. Shiloh was in the area of Yosef. But very simple, very intuitive.
You have,
You have Derech Havot there, no?
you have.
Where?
Who's there? Who's there in Hebron?
Apparently someone
Marat
was there, I
Machpelah, the
don't know.
mothers and fathers.
Where was he born?
Where he came from.
From-
Yeah.
Binyamin. No, it's not Binyamin. It's
Bethlehem.
Bethlehem.
Remember, maybe some people were not here when he was crowned by Shmuel.
Well,
He was in Bethlehem.
Bethlehem.
Bethlehem is part of Yehuda. Today, between Bethlehem and Hebron, you go in less than an hour, right? But Bethlehem was his place. Why not to go back to his home? Okay, Hashem tells him to go to Yehuda, fine. But part of Yehuda, it starts with Yerushalayim, it's going to the south through Bethlehem, Gilo, Bethlehem, Gush Etzion, Efrat today, Hebron. Why not Bethlehem? This
Because
is
if
the
you go
place
to-
where he grew up.
Because
you go-
Marat Machpelah is there.
the Machpelah.
So
No.
it might be Me'arat HaMachpelah. It's a very good place because remember, this is a very good point. I thought about it. Every king needs the people to come, and the capital has to be a place of attraction to the people, not only because the king is there. Yes, it's a big attraction, but you always need a
Matriarch.
religious
And
center.
patriarchs.
A place where people goes for their services, for their prayers. And remember that immediately when later, after 7 years, he established Yerushalayim, the first thing that he is doing, he is building a Mishkan. He started the preparation for the Mikdash. He did not build it because Hashem told him that only Shlomo will build it, but you can establish your place as a king only if around you there is a religious center, so the people anyways are coming, and when they are coming you can talk to them, you can judge them, you can do all kinds of things when the people anyway is around you. What is the first thing that Yerovam, after splitting the kingdom, is doing? He is building a place of Egel HaZahav in Dan and Egel HaZahav in Beersheba. They, when the Rechavam, the son of Shlomo, in his time the kingdom is split between Yehuda and Israel, Beit HaMikdash was supposed to be, Shlomo built it in Yerushalayim. If the people will continue to go to Yerushalayim, Yerovam, who appointed himself as the king of Israel, will never be able to be a real king, because the people will go 3 times a year to Yerushalayim. Over there, the king somehow will find the way to their heart. What is the first thing that he's doing? He built a religious center, one in Dan, one in Beersheba, actually decentralize Yerushalayim as a religious place, and the people are with him. So Hebron was indeed a religious place. Think about Eretz Israel with no Beit HaMikdash, or in Shiloh, and remember that at this time Shiloh was just a Mishkan. Shiloh Charva after the war. Remember everything that happened in the beginning of Sefer Shmuel. So I believe that Hebron, in a big way, was a place where people with all kind of troubles and problems, they went to Me'arat HaMachpelah to daven for their needs, like the Jews are doing today. People with all kind of troubles, they go to the father and the mother, the old fathers and mothers, Abraham Avinu, Yitzchak Avinu, Yaakov, Leah, they go to the Kvarot. So I think you're right. This is one. One more thing that might happen is that we remember that the family of David itself was not so supportive. Remember that when Shmuel is coming to choose someone from the children of Ishai, they don't even mention David. What we can learn from here that there was some tension in the family itself, or the people of Beit Lechem themselves maybe did not accept for all kind of reasons. We spoke about it then, I'm not going to bring it again, this midrash that they suspected that maybe David is not really their brother. So maybe it was not a good place to be in. And I'll tell you one more thing which is very, very important, and it's a fact. It's very, very hard to become a leader in the place where you grew up. Mm-hmm. The people who played basketball and football with you, they remember you as a little pisher, 9 years old, like, playing with them. Now you become the king. It's very, very hard. You have to change the setting and to be someone very, very different. Not with the people that you grew up like children. It sometimes makes things a little bit harder, and Hashem indeed tell him, go to Hebron. Don't go back to Beit Lechem, it's not a good idea. Okay. One more thing, which is interesting. We don't know how even the people of Yehuda will treat David. Let's think about the simple question. Why ask Hashem? Of course, Shaul disappeared. Why not to come back to your homeland, to Yehuda? You are now safe from the rage of Shaul. He died. So why even actually to ask Hashem? Why not just go back? We are going to see that although Shaul died, people at this point are not sure that they want to take sides in the new fight that is going to happen, who is going to be the next king. Shaul died, his 3 children died, but not all of them died, number one. Remember that when David was running away from Shaul, actually people from his own tribe sometimes gave information where he is to Shaul. These people were not 100% loyal to the family of David and to David himself. And as it happened sometimes, we are very good at it with the Jews. Our greatest enemies are sometimes from within. And David asked Hashem, is it safe to go back to Yehuda? Is it safe? Because not everything is absolutely clear. Many of you heard the name of Menachem Begin. All of you heard about it. And let me tell you, when the Brits did not look for him anymore, it was not the end of his misery. Because after Israel was established, he had new enemies from within. Everyone who read about Altelena, everyone who read how Begin was actually suffering from the people who were the the main power in Israel know that it's not easy. Even when you finished with your main enemy, you still have your friends with quotation mark around you. And this life were not simple. And I cannot think about a better example, I'm not saying exactly the same, of a case where a person is not safe even when he ended his war against his major enemies. It's a good example, at least example. Again, it's not completely parallel and I don't want to exaggerate here. But it's not safe. He was not safe. He was not safe. I'm not a big fan of all kind of conspiracies, but there are people who say that actually Ben Gurion wanted to get rid of Begin altogether. Again, listen, Ben Gurion dead, Begin is dead, but some of the troubles are still around, you know.
They're still with us.
Zecher Litziat Mitzrayim. Yeah, we still have all kind of things that are still even 70 years and for a country, you don't say Ad 120, we say forever Bezrat Hashem. Yeah, some of the issues are fresh. Talk to people like the children of the Cheirut and Lechi, and they will still, sometimes they go today on the streets of Tel Aviv and they look backward if no one is behind them. They still have the fear that someone is chasing and try to do something bad to them. So David had the same problem. Hashem said, Ta'ale. You go up. Not only that you go to Hebron, you are going up.
Is David
And-
using the Urim and Tumim?
I'm sorry?
Is he using the Urim and Tumim, or is this some feeling that he had, intuitive, like a Navi almost, that he sort of...
According to the Mefarshim, he asks the Navi. Because he did not have the Urim and Tumim, but he has the Navi with him all the time. Remember that even when he went to Moab, Gad HaChozeh went with him and he told him to go back to cross again to the Negev. So he always had a Navi around him. And when it said Vayishal Ba'Hashem, he did it with the Nevi'im. Shaul had a problem because first of all he did not listen to the Navi and never he asked them. That's why, and then he killed the Kohanim of Nov, so he lost any communication with Hashem. But David had the Navi with him and he instructed him all the time in every step of his life. Now, when Hashem says to go, and this is a Pasuk Bet, which I think is important because you might ask yourself, okay, of course, if he's going to Hebron, he's going with the family. It's not so simple. When you are not sure that your aliyah is going to be 100%, first of all, you go yourself and you check how the conditions, the job, the dira, everything, you try to find out and then you say, okay, my family will come with me later. But when Hashem says, La'alot, he takes his wife. It shows how David was a believer. When Hashem told him La'alot, he did not check it anymore. It was clear that if Hashem said La'alot, you can go, even with your wife. Ve'anashav asher imo elai. He did not say, listen guys, we will check how Hebron is. I will see what places we can go. He gave an instruction. When Hashem told him to go, he had no questions anymore. He is going and taking them. What about Parnasah? What about what we are going to do? Don't Hashem said La'alot. Anachnu olim. That's very, very important. And it's nice to see how David, who was their general in the bad times, he never forget them. Now, when he is going to have some rest, he's going to have Hebron, he takes all these people with him. He never forget them. Because sometimes leaders forget the people who help them in the bad times, and they teach them. Not David. Vayeshvu be'arei Hebron. And it's interesting, I thought about the words, Ve'anashav asher imo he'ela David ishu beito vayeshvu be'arei Hebron. What the word ishu beito reminds you? Yaakov, nachon. When they go to Mitzrayim, when they go to the Galut, when they are going down, Ishu Beito Bau. Ishu Beito Bau. So the same thing is happening now, the opposite. Ishu Beito, they not going down to Mitzrayim from Eretz Israel, they are coming from all over and they are going up with him, Vayal David, Ishu Beito, everyone to Hebron. But you know, there is something very, very interesting that I want to talk about, which I think is quite interesting. They think that there is something very significant that the Navi here is telling us. You mentioned Hebron as a place where the Avot were buried, and apparently it was a religious center in a way. What else you remember about Hebron? In the Torah.
Abraham lived there.
Abraham lived there, it's very, very true. And of course, he bought Me'arat HaMachpelah in Hebron for Sarah, indeed. He was sitting at the time in Beersheba. Abraham came from Beersheba, לספוד לשרה ולבכותה. But from this moment, this was the first place that was the fulfillment of the promise of Hashem to have the land of Israel. Yes, he paid unbelievable amount of money, which remind me the Keren HaKayemet Israel. It's our land, but they knew if they are not going to buy it from the Effendis, they are not going to have the land. Abraham was not afraid from the fact that he will have to buy the land. The promise was the promise, but Abraham has to do something about this promise. And this is a very great message to all Jews in all generations. We have many promises from Hashem, but if we are not going to do something about it, the promise by itself is not going to hold. Hashem wants us to do something about His promises. So there is something of Genesis, something of Bereshitiyut about Hebron. Hebron is the first place where the Jewish people are starting being the owners of the land of Israel. Isn't it beautiful that David is going to have his beginning as a king in Hebron, the place which was the first place to be conquered, owned by the Jewish people, by the first Jewish person? Number one, the idea of Rishoniyut, beginning. What else do you know about Hebron? So I'll read you the psukim that we are going to read in a few weeks from now. Remember the story of the Meraglim. ויאמר וידבר השם אל משה שלח לך אנשים ויתורו את ארץ כנען אשר אני נותן לבני ישראל איש אחד איש לאחד למטר אותם תשלח. Then where are they going to? ויעלו בנגב ויבוא עד חברון. There is something interesting in this pasuk. ויעלו בנגב ויבוא עד חברון. It should be ויבואו עד חברון. Right? ויעלו בנגב, plural, ויבואו עד חברון. No, the Torah said ויבוא עד חברון. חכמים, who are very careful readers, they say, well, I'll tell you what happened here. They all went from the Negev, but there was only one person who arrived to Hebron. Who was it? Kalev ben Yefune. Kalev לבדו הלך לשם, ונשתטח על קברי אבות. Kalev left the group. He apparently started to sense some problem there. And he said, I have to reconnect myself to a place that speaks a lot about the connection between the land and the people. What is this place? Hebron. How do we know that? Because Hashem says later, because Caleb was one of the people that did not slander the land, he's going to get Hebron. And Caleb was the person who got eventually Hebron ubnotea, and the whole area of Hebron. Now I want you to think a little bit about it. They arrive to Hebron, and what do they find in Hebron? Very frightening. ושם אחימן, שישן ותלמי, ילידי הענק, giants. וחברון 7 שנים נבנתה לפני צוען מצרים. They go back. This is not the Torah class, this is the Navi class. They go back and report what they saw in Eretz Israel. And they said, we cannot conquer the land. אפס כי אז העם, הערים בצורות גדולות מאוד, וגם ילידי הענק ראינו שם. I read in פרשת בשלח, in במדבר, פרק י"ג, you can see it later. We cannot fight against them, they are ילידי הענק. Do you see the picture? The people come to the area of Hebron and they see giants. And they decided they cannot fight them. You have the picture in your mind. Can you duplicate it to another case where they saw giants and could not fight?
Goliath.
Goliath. And not far away from Hebron, by the way. עמק האלה. Shaul is the person who see a giant and lost his ambition to fight. What we have in the story of the Meraglim is a paradigm to what happened later to Shaul. He lost his ability to fight. He lost his understanding that Hashem give you the Ruach Hashem, the Spirit of God to fight. Not to be afraid. That's the whole purpose of Melech Israel. To generate this spirit that he can overcome everyone in order to protect Eretz Israel. And the chet of Shaul is exactly the chet of the Meraglim. Hashem told them, you can do it. And they say, once they see the Anakim, no, we can't. Who are the people who say, what are you talking about? Hashem told us that we can. Who are these people? Yoshua and Caleb. What do they say? ויעש כלב את העם אל משה, ויאמר עלה נעלה וירשנו אותה, כי יכולנו חלה. Do you see the words? What Caleb says? עלה נעלה. The same words that Hashem tells Moshe, David, ויאמר השם אליו עלה, ויאמר דוד אנה אלה, ויאמר חברונה, to the same place of Caleb. Remember where Caleb said עלה נעלה? The same Caleb who went to Hebron. He saw the Anakim, he saw the giants. And he said, but Hashem told us that we can do it. Exactly as David is going to the Machane, he sees Goliath and he says, what's going on here? This person is cursing God and we are like here sitting and hearing and do nothing? How is that possible? I believe that this perek comes to give an answer to the story of the Meraglim. Because the chet of the Meraglim came the whole disaster that Bnei Israel could not conquer the land where really they could, and they could at the time. If they would do it then, in the beginning of the 40 years, remember, Namogu kol yoshvei Knaan, Chil achaz yoshvei Plashet, everyone was afraid of them. They would come, they take everything. They were a little bit afraid because the Meraglim, they lost it. Shaul was afraid, he lost it. David is a continuation of Caleb and the spirit of Caleb, כי הייתה רוח אחרת עמו. Remember the idea of Ruach Hashem, we say it a few times. David had something that Shaul did not have. Ruach Hashem. The Ruach of Caleb. And remember, Caleb indeed came from the Shevet of Yehudah, the Shevet that was supposed to generate the next kings. Why it was not the people of Caleb that became the kings and David, this is a story for another time. But I'll give you one hint, which is very, very important. You might find it very fascinating. We spoke a lot about what happened between David and Naval Carmeli. Remember? But the elephant in the room is something much bigger than the story itself. Remember what Naval was? Vehu Kalibi. Naval was the great-grandson of Caleb ben Yefuneh. Naval believed that he's supposed to be the next king. And indeed, if everything would work out, it would be Naval and his family that will be the kings. Don't think that the people of Yehuda itself, they just, applauded David and said, oh, welcome, you are the next king. In the family of Yehuda, there was a huge tension. Who is going to be the king? They knew that the kingdom belongs to the Shevet of Yehuda, but it was not so clear who it's going to be. If you are going to analyze the family of David, you are going to see that they were the third or the fourth in line to actually the main line from the Mishpacha of Peretz. It's not so simple. There was a Rachmiel, there was Ram, and Naval believed that he's first in line before David. And when you go sometimes until today, if you want to determine who is going to be the next king, when, for example, the king does not have children, you're going back to the father and you start to draw lines to his children, and if he has no children, you go to the grandfather. So there was a big mess. Who is going to be the next king? Of course, we know the story because Shmuel secretly anointed David. But in the family of Yehuda, there was a big issue. Who is going to be the next one? And when, maybe before Megillat Ruth will start, I will explain you the Megillah in light of this. Why indeed the Goel did not want to marry Ruth. Because he saw that he's going to be the king. He was afraid to marry a Moabiyah. It's a whole story. It's not simple. There was a huge tension in the family of Yehuda who is going to be the king. And when Naval heard that David demanded from him to give, all the tension inside the family, and you know that there is no greater tension than tension in the family, came out. I don't want to make the Tanakh like a reality show, but you have to understand, some part of it is a reality show. These are real people. Each one of them has his own aspirations, and sometimes it's coming into clashes. But to the point here, what I want to make here is that I believe that the Tanakh build the character of David as a continuation to the spirit of Caleb. Shaul is a parallel to the Meraglim, the weakness and the results of this weakness. And therefore it's so clear why Hashem said, Aleh lechevron. Because the first one who showed us this courage, this Ruach of Hashem, was Caleb regarding Hebron. So, and see even the travel, the course. Vayalu b'negev, vayavo at Hebron. This is about the Meraglim. Where David comes from? Negev Tziklag. Remember, we learned it in the end of Shmuel Aleph. From Negev Tziklag, Hashem sent him to Hebron. The same area that the Meraglim went from the Negev to Hebron. But in Hebron they stopped. They could not think that they can overcome the Anakim. David is doing now as a conqueror, as a new leader of Am Israel, fixing in a way all the problems of the Meraglim. I find it quite interesting. ויבואו אנשי יהודה, וימשכו שם את דוד למלך על בית יהודה. See who comes? The people of Beit Yehuda. It doesn't say that all the Shvatim, all the tribes of Israel came. It was for the people of Yehuda. And why? Shaul is not there anymore. So why not all the tribes came to David?
They're still devoted to him. They're not ready to.
Because Shaul was not from Yehuda. Shaul represented the other Shvatim. Binyamin. Again, they maybe did not want to take sides here. They expected that the Shevet of Binyamin, the Shevet of Shaul will continue maybe to reign, even if Shaul is not there. So what people are doing when they have like a fight between, a clash between powers, they sit on the fence. The people of Yehuda though, as Hashem promised, they accepted him. And it's not a simple thing, as I said, because even the people of Yehuda were not loyal to David and they were loyal to Shaul. Remember that after David, there was no like thousands upon thousands of people. It was 400, it increased to 600, but that was it. The rest of the people accepted Shaul as the king and they cooperated with Shaul, not with David. So even the fact that the people of Yehuda accepted him, it's not a little thing. And here you can see the fruits that David harvested after the war with the Amalekim. Remember what he did? All the goods that he took from the Amalekim, he sent to Arei Yehuda. David think ahead. And you know what? What can I tell you? Sometimes charisma by itself is not enough. You have to bribe the people. And David did it. You know, that's how it works. Politicians, as I said, they have all kind of weapons in their arsenals. It's wonderful when you are a great leader and by your charisma you can, make everyone as your follower. But if it doesn't work this way, you need more weapons in your arsenal, and David had it that we are going to see. Now, you read Pasuk Dalet, and you tell me what do you think is going in Pasuk Dalet. Is it like the second part, because really my question is as follows. How the first part, the Reisha and the Sefer are related to each other? Of Pasuk Dalet.
They're in the wrong order.
I'm sorry?
They're in the wrong order.
Because it should be fair that they're telling him about the people of Yavesh Gilad, right? Okay, this is one comment, right? What else? ויגידו לדוד לבוא. First of all, who came to tell him that?
אנשי יהודה.
אנשי יהודה apparently, because he talks about them. ויבואו אנשי יהודה, וימשכו שם את דוד למלך על בית יהודה, ויגידו לדוד לאמור, אנשי יבש גלעד אשר קברו את שאול.
Are they warning him about אנשי יבש גלעד?
That's interesting. Because basically I would argue that maybe the two parts are not related to each other. Okay, they appointed him now as a king. What does it have to do with the story that the people of Yavesh Gilad buried Shaul? I would say, okay, and later came, the people of Judah came, but now it's such a celebration, they crowned David as their king, ויגידו לו about the people of Anshe Gilad. What's the connection between the two? What's going on here? And why was that important that apparently at the time that they celebrated and crowned him, they told him about the people of Yavesh Gilad?
They're reassuring him
Yeah.
that he doesn't have any enemies anymore.
Because now he's buried like 6 foot under. But
On the opposite.
I would read it differently.
The first order of business maybe that David is going to have to take care of. He's going to have to deal with, after Shaul was killed, Anshe Yavesh Gilad did some chesed. What are you, the new melech, going to do about this?
Okay, so first of all, they want to... So there are few readings here. The people with a good heart read it as you said. They say, listen, there are a few odds that we have to tie here. You know, the people of Yavesh Gilad did something incredible, and they did something incredible because they buried Shaul under risk. They went, remember, the Plishtim stabbed Shaul and his children and put them in the Choma of Beit Shean for everyone to see. They risked their life, they took him, they buried him in Yavesh Gilad. As we say, it was the result of the chesed that he did with them, with Ammon before. So they wanted actually to tell David, like a good secretary, you know, a secretary said, you know, this guy had a birthday, maybe you should call him, or this person send us a customer, maybe you should call him and thank him for this. Yeah, this is one option. The other option is that it was a warning. It was a warning. What would you do? Let's say that someone was fired, you took his place, and you find out that the secretary, actually your secretary, the secretary of the corporation, is still calling the old guy and telling him what's going on, and you know, still see him as the CEO of the company. You know, really, even in democracies, normally, like the people, the executives, they all replaced. No new president will work with the old administration. They are loyal to another person who brought them to the job, so you fire them. That's normal. And here the people say, okay, he's our king, but now the tzor start.
Well, they're just Beit Yehuda.
They are only Beit
They
Yehuda.
can only make him king on over
Exactly.
Yehuda. So now they go, so that's good, that's a good start. Yehuda's an important center tribe, I guess, big tribe. So now he's now been appointed by Yehuda. Now he finds that his problem is, how does he bring in the other tribe?
Okay, so this is a major question, but again, this question might be even bigger than how to bring the other tribes. Because what they show that for the old king, they will risk their life. So what is the next step? Maybe they are going to make Beit Shaul to continue, at least in their minds, and this is the recipe for troubles. So yes, they say to David, everything is fantastic, we crowned you, but you should know that we think that there is a strong kernel of opposition. And see, these people even risk their life. And here, as I said before, David could have two options. Remember Shaul, how nervous he became when he just heard that David got the Cherev of Goliath in Nov from Achimelech. Remember what happened? It ended with like a bloodshed like never before. 70 people were killed in the same day just for the suspicion that was not even, by the way, approved. So David, a person who could be very angry, and remembers the story with Nabal Carmeli, if not Abigail, he would go and kill everyone there. He might say, you know what, it's time of change. I cannot deal with this opposition as it used to be in the Middle East, as it happened exactly in Russia. Not 80 years ago, they killed all the Romanovs, they took them, they killed them until the last one. Then there were legends that this lady has escaped, or the children escaped. But even in the modern world, you want to get rid from a dictator, you kill all the people who were loyal to him. And that's exactly what happened in Russia. That happened, or was a fear or a concern that maybe David will do to all the people who are loyal to Shaul. David is doing something amazing. And we can see what a change, I would say, from the time of Nabal Carmeli to this time. And maybe that's why Abigail is mentioned here, to remind us the wisdom, the horizon that she opened to David, that sometimes the best way to solve problems is not by the sword, by being a great politician. And he sent a letter to the people of Yavesh Gilad, exactly the opposite of what many people will do in a situation like this. וישלח דוד מלאכים אל אנשי יבש גלעד ויאמר עליהם, ברוכים אתם להשם. God should bless you. אשר עשיתם החסד הזה עם אדוניכם. עם שאול, ותקברו אותו. Not only that I'm not upset with you, not only that I'm afraid of you, not only that I'm not like now thinking how should I deal with this tribe, you are the people that I want around me. I want people who know that they will risk their life for their master. This is a people that every king is looking for. And if a person was very loyal to the previous CEO, if he's really loyal and he's really caring about the purpose of the company, he's not going to fight the new CEO, he's going to help him. And he says to them, I actually appreciate the fact, yes, me and Shaul did not get along. I know that. But I do appreciate the fact that you were so loyal to Shaul. This speaks a lot to me and the people that I want around me.
We're going to finish next week.
Right.
Killed them with kindness.
Huh?
They killed them with kindness.
They say,
Hold your friends.
bring your friends close and your enemies even closer. That's exactly what David is doing here. But it's easy to say that. How many people really can do it to behave so smartly? And David was one of them. So we are going to continue with Be'ezrat Hashem next week.
Next week, same
Very
time,
good. Okay.
6:45. Go ahead, everybody. How do you turn this off? How do you turn it off? I know you can turn it off someplace.
By the way.